I think education it's a kind of driving force that keeps you moving in life.
It is about the values of human being.
Education is mainly focused on getting a job.
For me, education is beyond the academic learning in classrooms. It should be more a life teaching experience.
Education is the basic right of each and every one of us.
Education is more about opening new doors and opening your mind to all the knowledge in the world that there is.
Very marked or systems oriented, just like an expectation, and we are fulfilling it.
Without education, there is no life for us. Education is a breath of a life.
Education is a lot more than what is gained in schools and colleges. I think it's the gateway to economic growth.
To many, the word education conjures up images of successful and brilliant careers with unlimited possibilities. And then, to some, education is only a means to eke out a living. No doubt, it is a milestone by which a person's financial future is predicted and a country's economic growth and development measured and quantified. The general perception is, at the end of education, we would have the magic key that unlocks our dreams to money, name, fame, and social recognition.
If we listened closely to the whispers of our heart, they would urge us to explore an alternative route to a world with enriching experiences.
But we put these whisperings on mute as we relentlessly pursue happiness. In this respect, Gurukulas, the ancient education system in India, had paved the path for its students to access this world. Guru and students lived as one family in these residential schools that nestled on the lap of nature. In these spiritual incubators, students imbibed timeless human values and gained worldly as well as spiritual knowledge for a prescribed number of years. Different eras have experienced different challenges, but have also witnessed divine interventions that have helped humanity overcome them. In the present era, the need of the hour again is a divine intervention to recalibrate our journey in modern times. The year 1926, November 23rd, witnessed the advent of a phenomenon in the form of Sri Satya Sai Baba, who came to save humanity from stumbling and falling into an abyss.
Baba was born in a nondescript village called Puttaparthi in Andhra Pradesh in South India. He said that his advent had a mission: to transform and awaken humanity to recognize its true nature and unite the world as one family. If Baba's message was to love all, his mission was to serve all. His humble origins did not stop him from carrying out monumental tasks, be it education, health, or socio-care.
Moved by the plight of the villagers in his village who had to trek miles to have access to basic human needs, Baba set up free colleges, hospitals with advanced medical technologies, and implemented drinking water projects.
The first stamp of his love came in the form of a college for women in July 1968 at Anantapur, not too far from Puttaparthi. This same model of holistic education was replicated at Whitefield, Bangalore, where a college for men came up in 1969. And the next campus was established in Baba's hometown, Puttaparthi, for boys. These institutes of education were appended to the Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, a deemed university established in 1981.
As the American author Edith Wharton said, there are two ways of spreading light: to be the candle or be the mirror that reflects it. While the light was spreading from the candle in Puttaparthi, there was a mirror reflecting the light in a neighborhood state, Karnataka. That mirror was Madhyal Narayan Bhatt, affectionately called as Anna, who was a visionary, a patriot, social worker, and a spiritual seeker.
I was looking for a person who practices what he says. I was quite disillusioned with many people. I also wanted a person who would not sacrifice social service to pursue spiritual perfection. And he was a very beautiful synthesis and blend of both spirituality and patriotism. In a public function, he was giving a talk. Speaking about the country, he broke down in front of thousands of people. What he said and what I saw was straight from his heart. What he explained really impressed me. What he said is that by molding children, you can strengthen the moral fabric of society, without which all political reforms or economic philosophies will fail.
Anna nurtured an aspiration to set up free schools all over Karnataka that would impart value-based education. As a first step, Anna planted the seeds in Allike near Mangalore in Karnataka in 1961 and in Mudanahalli near Bangalore International Airport in 1973 on a bedrock of human values. Anna's prayers seeking Baba's guidance on the running of these schools for social welfare were answered with love and grace. In April 1973, when Baba visited Manipal in Karnataka, Anna requested him to name the campus at Mudanahalli. The name Satya Sai Grama was then given.
The saplings in Allike and Mudanahalli were just beginning to blossom when tragedy struck in 1977 with Anna's passing. Baba stepped in to take over the reins of these two schools. The year was 1978 and it gave birth to Sri Satya Sai Lok Seva Trust with Baba at the helm. Today, Satya Sai Grama Mudanahalli has more than 1,000 students, over 850 of them residing in the hostel. There are 2 schools and a junior college. The governing principle of all Sri Satya Sai educational institutions is values-based education, where worldly knowledge is intertwined with spiritual wisdom and human values. When these two systems of education are closely knit, it draws one closer to understand the term educare. Through the system of educare, human values that are latent in all of us are drawn out into the open to be translated into action.
First time I learnt about value-based education, not exactly the word educare, as my mentor, late Madhyal Nanbut, explained to me. And it captured my heart so much, instantly I decided to dedicate my life for value-based education.
As the growth of Satya Sai schools and colleges were being scripted as chapters on books on value-based education, one page unfolded an event on April 24, 2011 in Puttaparthi. The form that endeared millions and showered love on an infinite number of men and women took to the formless. Hands that were visible when they reached to help millions may seem to have retracted, but in reality, they continue to guide many more hands.
Anna's aspirations to establish a school that imparted integrated education free of cost in each of the districts in the state are being fulfilled by the unseen hand of Baba and executed by a highly dedicated team of men and women.
Now, after Swami left the physical body, now being in this subtle form, he is focusing on starting education institutions in Karnataka first. But it will not stop there. It will go all over the country and even all over the world. That's what Baba has been saying. Then why choosing Karnataka first? Because Swami has already announced, he had announced even when he was in the physical frame, that the third Sai Avatar will be in Karnataka. The first Sai Avatar, Shirdi Sai Baba in Maharashtra. The second, Satya Sai Baba in Andhra Pradesh. And third, Prem Sai in Karnataka. That is why Swami has chosen Karnataka for establishing this kind of educational institutions, one in each district for both boys and girls. In fact, he has said he is going to establish 30 of them in the 30 districts, 20 of them for boys and 10 of them for girls. He is preparing the mindset of the people of Karnataka for the advent of Prema Sai.
To further the cause of nation building, the alumni from Alike and Mudenahalli started the Sri Satya Sai Saraswati Education Trust, a unique social venture in October 2011, and the first campus, Sri Satya Sai Vidya Niketanam, was established at Gulbarga district in June 2012. The current educational projects under the Sri Satya Sai Saraswati Education Trust are Sri Satya Sai Vidya Niketanam, Boys, Gulbarga District; Sri Satya Sai Sharda Niketanam, Boys, Mandya District; Sri Satya Sai Divya Niketanam, Boys, Chikmagalur District; Sri Satya Sai Sri Niketanam, Girls, Chikmagalur District; Sri Satya Sai Prema Niketanam, Boys, Bijapur; Sri Satya Sai Anand Niketanam, Boys, Bagalkot District; and Sri Satya Sai Prashanti Niketanam, Girls, Chikballapur. Over 4,500 students already study in these campuses, including 900 girls who are benefiting from an integral education system absolutely free of cost. A new campus for boys, Sri Satya Sai Satya Niketanam, will be inaugurated in June 2016 at Belur Taluk in Hassan, and pre-university campus for girls, Sri Satya Sai Prashanti Niketanam in Alike, will start from June 2016.
Saplings in these educational institutions are tended carefully to grow into mighty trees that cannot be swayed by the strongest of winds. And that requires dedication and sacrifice. Baba makes sure lessons are learned not just in classrooms.
The Satya Sai system of integral education aims at the holistic development of students, where equal emphasis is given to every aspect of a student's personality that leads to total human excellence. Baba says the 3H formula is a wonderful synthesis of the head, hands, and heart, where education for the head, ability and perfection for the hands and body, and spiritual nourishment for the heart is imparted in an atmosphere of love and discipline.
It is inevitable, the world is filled with reversals, and if children are not taught how to cope with failure, how to cope with disappointments, then when life brings those disappointments to them, they are going to be total wrecks. That is where spiritual education becomes the great strength that holds us aloft, that is like a backbone that supports us, especially in those times when nothing in the external world may seem to go right, but at least there, if we've got that Adhyatma Vidya, we will be able to derive strength, courage and confidence from that and carry on. Most importantly, spiritual education is something that allows us to tune in to our own heart. It allows us to listen to the prompting of the heart and not just the mind. All secular education does is cater to the head, it simply fosters the mind, but it is spiritual education that opens up the heart.
Satya Sai institutions are a synthesis of the ancient and the modern. And that is why Baba spoke about synthesis of computer and culture. The ancient Gurukula system of education, it was a combination of spiritual values and material knowledge and skills. We are trying to replicate it in Satya Sai education institutions.
Deep philosophical reasons are woven into the fabric of these educational institutions, where multi-hued threads are needed for a holistic development and character building of students. For example, being housed in a residential school environment, students morph into embodiments of love and harmony. They imbibe exemplary traits and life's lessons such as kinship, understanding and respect, dignity of labor, humility, self-reliance and self-restraint. Families who eat and pray together stay together is not a saying here, but a regular practice. to better understand the concept of brotherhood of man and fatherhood of God.
Inculcation of spirituality and human values is not based on one particular religion. There are certain spiritual and moral values which are universally accepted by people all over the world, even if they are not religious. So these spiritual and moral values are the very nucleus of every religion. And that is why it is different. Now talking about Satsai schools, it is Bhagwan Baba who made the statement, there is only one religion, the religion of love. There is only one caste, the caste of humanity. There is only one language, language of the heart. There is only one God who is omnipotent. The walls and barriers have to be demolished. That can happen only when all children all over the world are raised and trained on this universal philosophy of unity of religions and harmony of religions. Therefore, I would say harmony of religions is one of the hallmarks of Satya Sai institutions.
Among several lessons learned, give more than you take is a valuable one learned from living amidst nature.
On the roadmap that Baba has shown, these schools may appear far removed from urban clutter, but are they at a disadvantage? A resounding no echoes through the rustic landscapes that lead to the gates of these schools in rural India.
Free integral education for all is the driving force to choose rural India as the backdrop of these schools and colleges. As Baba believes, no child should be left behind. Or to put it lightly, every sparrow should be counted.
In this area, education is a little backward, and also people are not educated, and financially also they are not so good. And so to say, you can say the civilization also is very much less, means 50 years behind what you see in Bangalore, Mysore, Chennai, etc. So that's why he want to bring it up. The beautiful campuses, what is coming up, it is an inspiration to all those who come this side. It is a great inspiration.
The scenario in rural pockets of the country provides the platform for students to practice simple living and high thinking by imbibing traits of self-restraint and sealing on desires.
Swami is teaching us as the most important aspect of our lives, that is self-restraint. This self-restraint doesn't mean that we should not pick up the things even though we are in need of that. He is teaching us that whatever we require in our lives, we should get them. We should not go behind our desires, but we should be just take care of our needs. So here the students have transformed themselves without any force, practicing this self-restraint.
Along with academic excellence, development of skills and talents are nurtured in a climate of teamwork, infused with love and discipline. Phobias are conquered as students radiate self-confidence.
Games and sports are part of the daily routine in these schools, where team spirit is valued higher than exertion of power and strength. Human values cannot be learned from lectures or textbooks.
Those who seek to impart values to students must first practice them themselves and set an example. As Baba says, the teacher has the greatest share in molding the future of a country, and their profession is the noblest, the most difficult, and the most important.
Here, our teachers live with us day in and day out, and they are available to us always. And they did not actually tell directly that you should be like this. Observing them, indirectly we learnt all the things, and I have become what I am today. It is because of our teachers.
These Tyagajivis, as Baba calls them, stay with the students on the campus and look after their progress and welfare. They have dedicated their lives to mold the character of each child who comes under their tutelage and to empower and transform them so they become ideal citizens of the country today and leaders of tomorrow.
Tyagajivi actually literally means a man of sacrifice or a woman of sacrifice. Anybody who sacrifices selfishness and self-interest is a Tyagajivi. Anybody who wants to serve the society is a Tyagajivi. Anybody who takes less and gives more to society is a Tyagajivi. I read a biography of Jesus Christ, where it is said, when Jesus was born, a sentence like this: Son of God was born to take nothing and give everything. So that is a Tyagajivi.
The Sri Satya Sai Center for Human Excellence was set up in 2014 to remind teachers of the nobility of their profession and awaken them to the monumentous task ahead. Aristotle rightly said, "Those who educate the children are more to be honored than they who produce them, for these only give them life, those the art of living well."
After 2011, when Swami left the body, and when he came to Mudenelli in this subtle form, and it was in 2013, suddenly he announced the Center for Human Excellence. This is the beginning, because it will not cater to the needs of all the people. In one center we cannot, because it's a massive work and we need a lot of people. These people will work within the framework of Satya Sai organizations. They will not move out to the society. See, they will be our torch bearers.
If I had to remember, on the day of inauguration, Swami gave a call to these boys. Swami said, you need to be commanders. And our role as wardens, as directors, or as lecturers is just to meet these expectations of Bhagavan.
Swami Vivekananda, the great spiritualist and philosopher, said, "You have to grow from the inside out. None can teach you. None can make you spiritual. There is no other teacher but your own soul." In these institutions, the spiritual kinship shared by a student and a teacher is a great enabler for a student to understand the true nature of the soul.
Education is for transformation. By transforming the individuals, Swami wanted to transform the society. We want to bring out yogis and tyagis. These are the centers for individual transformation.
Within the small period of Swami's living his mortal coil in this subtle form, already 9 institutions have come up, and hospital, all these things are coming up, and our students will become the torch bearers to the entire mankind.
So the education system has been highly instrumental in developing 4 different and important yet significant values in the lives of women. These 4 values happen to be: number 1, the CARE could be expanded as character upliftment; point number 2, awareness; point number 3, reliance; and point number 4, excellence.
The very thought of him endeavoring to create a movement to provide education free of cost should go down into human history as one of the greatest contributions ever to be made by anybody. So this is an immense act of nation building, this is an immense act of national service, this is an immense act of societal service. If you see the economy today also, it's moving away into the hinterlands of the country. Small startups are shaking the big behemoth corporates of the world. So these little children who are today considered rural/rustic might shake some of the big ideologies or tangible institutions that we have.
There is a very important reason and a very powerful philosophy behind this. When you purchase education, naturally when you grow up, you will be prone to selling education. Not only education, selling yourself for money. When you are getting free education, naturally get obligated to society. The soul of education is the education of the soul. Without that, no personality can be complete. Because ultimately what spirituality does to human personality is, It gives that human personality the willpower to control the mind and senses, which are very, very essential for a steady character.
The world today calls for the stewardship of men and women with sterling character who can steer societies on a path of righteousness.
With the confluence of divine grace, harmony of thought, word and deed of the youth, it would not be too long before the great marvels come out of inspirations and selfless aspirations.
No generation can perpetuate itself unless it has basic education to begin with and a value-based education thereafter, which bring forth these great values of duty, devotion, discipline. That is how a society or a nation will sustain itself. These few thousand children may think way better than beyond what we think. Who knows, the value they attach to this may be far more than what we did. Who knows, they may be the harbingers of a greater tomorrow than what we brought from yesterday to today. So that was the immense faith that Swami had, and I see that immense faith and hope that these institutions have.
The winds of change are set in motion to blow in a new age around the world where human values would prevail in all walks of life.
Now I understand what is this spirituality. Instead of reading it in books, if we apply it in our lives, it becomes more easy for us to understand it, and through it we can actually feel very comfortable to achieve anything in our lives.
If I stand in a whole group, the people will identify me as a Sai student. I am very happy and proud to say that I am a Sai student.
When I help others, I am happy. In many videos you can see that Swami has been serving many and has been many hospitals and for the poor. So I would also like to continue this and become a messenger of Swami.
So at the end of the day, what is that in Sai institution? We learn everything. Each and every student will become an all-rounder.
We will not get any moral education like this in anywhere.
I want to bring a smile on each and every face of Swami student, and through them on the face of whole humanity.
That we could be so close, like brown.